Alrighty, welcome back. If all goes according to plan, and it rarely does, but maybe this time it will, you will have seen an example of what I'm about to show you earlier. In another battle, I believe it was bottom tier. Here I am bottom tier in 2 tiers instead of 3 tiers down. And the concept here, the idea is to talk about how do I stay alive and get more damage as a new to intermediate player. And it really, at the end of the day, it boils down to getting yourself into a position to get damage and then realizing when you need to move to a new position. And in this case, it's going to be a losing battle. And we're going to talk about things to think about, what it might look like on the mini-map. Now, this is not obviously going to work for every match. It's all dynamic. The red guys, purple, whatever color you got set up, they get a vote, right? So what they do matters. What your team matters. Your teammates have a vote as well. And sometimes you've just got to react, or all the time, you've just got to react with the match you're faced with, not the one you want. You always want the initiative and try to force the match to go the way you want. And if it does, great. If your plan works and your team's working out and their team isn't doing great, or you're just overwhelming them or playing better, that's all good, but that doesn't happen all the time. So as a new to intermediate player, you're going to be looking for those opportunities to get more damage in and stay alive. And the key there is obviously staying alive and looking for shots, creating shots. You want to go to places where you can create shots. If I sit in the back, we talked about this morning, I could go up to this bush here at A3 and hang out and wait for my 2 or 3, 4 shots. And I could say, okay, I stayed alive, I got to the end of the battle, and I did some damage. It's average or even maybe a little bit more than average. What I want to do, though, in order to move past that new to intermediate, and the things I want to learn in that phase of my gameplay, is how to get more damage out of it. So you've got to go to positions that matter. So I come up here. Now, why am I here? This is not a fantastic spot. It's really bad when there's arty. It's pretty decent when there's no arty, and you can go hold down with a pretty good tank with a good turret, and this M3Y happens to have one. And it's really good if these guys, like they're doing, get around this corner and there's nobody here and we can wipe these dudes off the hill. But danger, danger, Will Robinson. It gets tricky on this flank. If you win this and try to push up into all their campers down here along the K row on the south. They get up in those hills and you get shredded. So I've already looked at this and went, okay, I'm going to come over here. We're going to see what we can do. Oftentimes you get into a peek-a-boom contest because they've taken these hills over here or these low spots and you're just peeking and booming. And the reason I'm here is to try to light up guys in the hill and help clear this out. But that fight never evolved, right? So my plan has already changed. I'm not going to push into them because it's, yes, we've won a flank, but if we keep pushing like Muppets into the cap, they're going to shred us because they're all up there. And notice where they got spotted, although a lot of these spots are late, and it was while everyone was moving, getting into their initial positions. I don't know what they've done, but they haven't come down here, so that makes me feel like they're super defensive over here. Now I'm also getting worried about what's going to happen in the west, because I feel like maybe they're going to have a much better overmatch force over there. If we don't start seeing guys pretty quickly, that's probably what's going to happen. So I've already considered all of those possibilities, and it's already in the back of my mind that I may have to go back or change what I'm doing. Because there doesn't seem to be anybody on the hill, I'm going to move a little bit more forward. And of course, we see this guy. I actually hit that shot. Fantastic. When you are moving from cover to cover, take those shots. Okay? The only time I wouldn't take that shot if I was worried about getting myself spotted. All right? I figured I was spotted, so I just took the shot. All right, I'm going no further than this. I'll take some looks around in this hold down spot, and there you go. I'm already getting spotted. There goes the Kunza. See if we can shoot him in the back as he's running. Okay, another shot. So we've created an okay little advantage over here, but already I'm thinking to myself, we're going to have to go back. Look at the KV-4 moving up through the middle. How many buddies have gone through with him? What's going on over in the west? Nothing good. There's that overmatch. I can already see it developing over there. So we're going to back out of this. Again, these 2 positions I went to changed completely for me. Thanks, Mocha. Hey. Walks in and sits down next to me, scratches her ear, and gets her tags jangling. All right. So with arty, I don't go to this spot. It's just a place to get waxed. I'm going to take some 1 or 2, maybe 3 shots, blind shots into some of these spots. I find a pretty good shot actually on the AC. I just get unlucky. Screen not penetrated, so I don't know if that went up in the matlet. This is also going to not do anything. It looks like it hit the ground. So we kind of mess around with this a little bit more. And if anything, I would say I was late moving back, to be quite honest. I'm really trying to help these guys as they push, but unfortunately, I don't know what this guy's doing. He just loses every hit point he has. I mean, that was the most obvious, and it's a great example, actually, for you guys, all right? What I said was we don't want to push into this open space because the dude's up here, right? And what did he do? Also, too, in addition to going to this middle spot from there, you get shots at anyone who might be still camping out in their hills back over here on the H or so row, about where the Brask is, east and west of him, mostly east. It's just, that was a horrible move, especially this part of the game. Also, holy crap, we've lost 5 tanks. That entire western flank has collapsed. So now it's time to start thinking about, as a new to intermediate player, all right, I'd love to win, right? I want to win. Does that mean I hurry and try to push to their cap and out-cap them? Or do I fall back and try to attrit them with the rest of my defenders? There are guys that are probably hurt pushing into my cap. That's pretty easy to me, because the cap conditions are not set. There's no way this group is going to rush onto the cap right now based on where the enemy tanks are. And they have enough fast ones to get back anyway. So this picture that you're seeing on the mini-map is not the time to try to push the cap. You have to set the conditions for cap. And while we're already getting into Hail Mary zone of the game, that Hail Mary is the worst of the two choices. The best choice is to get your butt back. The second part of that is the consistency of damage. I'm going to go back there because those hit points are going to come to me. I don't have to force my way into a T95 and campers. Campers going to go and camp. All right, they go and camp. They're not going to do anything else but camp. That's what they do. The Kunza, there's another guy up there. Let's go back where their team is pushing onto the cap. Now, this goes back to 2 things, as I said. I do still want to try to win the game. It's looking worse and worse, but hey, stranger things have happened. Number 2, I want to get some more damage in. I'm only at 651 with 520 assists. I'd love to crank out some more damage and get some of that consistency going. So I've managed to keep myself alive, which was one of the questions of the day. How do we do that? Well, you don't do stupid things like drive onto the cap in a panic, trying to win a game that's probably not winnable, but certainly that's the worst choice of how to win it. So I will go, and this is map knowledge thing for the newer and intermediate players. I'm going to a spot where I know I can fight them hold down. I don't like this spot over here as much because it starts to get shots in the side from over here pretty quickly. I'm expecting to lose the guys that kept pushing the cap, but I have a little bit of time for these dudes to drive into behind me. So for now, I moved quickly. I'm over here. I'm going to have a few minutes to take on the guys coming at cap before I get flanked or somebody coming up the old bungus here. All right? That's all absolutely planned. All right. So we get a shot into him, and then I get a little bit unlucky on some of these rushing shots just a little bit, and okay, that one worked. And then this guy just won't die because I just miss everything or bounce it. That one bounces. I'm rushing my shots just a little bit. I need to aim in and just go, okay, how are we doing this? Oops. All right. He does a nice little jink. He's actually causing me some issues with the way he's turning. I think this is the third. No, we finally get one more shot into him. So I'm taking as many shots as I can. I'm only coming up high enough, all right, for you new and intermediate players. This is essentially hold down. I'm only coming up high enough to show my turret, and I can tell that by where the line of sight of my gun is and where I can see the ground. My Pipper is just above the ground level. I see that 65T coming in. Well, I don't even know why I took that shot. It was nothing but a total prayer. He's the big problem. The 257 I'm going to have trouble with. So I switch off of him. I can't really pin him unless he gives me side turret, which he is kind of sort of doing. But I saw that AMX 65 coming in, so we'll go ahead and shoot him. And then it's going to hook right and go over the back deck. Big bummer. I'm exposing myself a little bit more. There we go. We get another shot in there, and we've cranked up our damage. It's looking worse and worse, and now I am almost purely into how much damage can I get before I die. Right? Sometimes, in a better situation than this, the how much damage can I get before I die turns into turning it around and giving you a possibility at a win. This would be one of the more epic comebacks if that happens. So I'm really, in my back of my mind, I have shifted from, all right, I'd like to go back, try to protect cap, maybe attrit someone, get a win, to, all right, let's just get as much damage as we can out of this thing. There is nothing you can do about that. It's a 257 moving, swinging his turret, and he just nails me. You know what I mean? There just isn't anything. Where did he hit me? Because that's pretty funny, actually. Did he come up under into the turret? It's hard. I don't see where the hit went, so it might be up underneath the. There it is. He just nails me right in the side, down low right there. Everything about that shot is 100% nothing you can do about it. It just happens. All right, so here he comes. I'm going to try to get into his lower plate here. There we go. That doesn't penetrate. Here, he takes a couple hits, and now I know he has a while to drive on me, so I'm going to shoot. I'm going to back up on reloading. This is important. I'm trying to keep the distance from him. I don't want to be face hugged, but I'll stop to shoot, nice aim shot, and then I'll back up until I look like I'm about ready to shoot again. I get hit again, and this time I'm just going to shoot on the run. And then I Olay him, all right? This is a great way to stay alive for a couple more potatoes for maybe another shot. Okay, guys come charging in. He's not really making any move to try to square up to me. I'm agile enough that I can go Olay. See how he tried to turn into me? I'm going to auto-aim him so that I can drive, zoom out, and watch my turret come around. A lot of people will try to fight this like this, zoomed in, right? Don't do that. Third person, auto-aim. Auto-aim is problematic depending because it's center of mass, so you kind of a problem sometimes against an Object 257 because it's got all the sloped armor. But really, at this point, all I'm trying to do is stay alive for another shot or two. So we'll Olay him, we'll hit him. I get hit, unfortunately, by the AMX, and I'm thinking the jig is up. But I don't stop, man. I'm not giving up. New players, intermediate players, just keep driving your tank. Try to give as many weird angles to as many bandits as you can at one time. Oftentimes, you just die immediately, but sometimes shit like this happens. He missed. He got a little worried, right? He was worried his gun wasn't going to come on in time. And he fired too early, or maybe he was auto-aimed and the gun was lagging. I wasn't really that fast. That was pretty far behind me, to be honest. So it's hard to tell. Maybe he has a bad connection. Also a possibility right. Also a possibility right there. But I actually closed that guy out, and then I'll just keep on fighting. Right? I've cranked myself up to 2,729. I see the T-54 coming, and I'm like, well, can I get my gun on him before he kills me and get one more shot and one more shot of damage? So we're going to come in here. And I just kind of blow it, right? I was now the guy rushing. I needed to get the shot off before he came up and over and got his gun online, and I just happened to hit into his track or the side of his tank or upper plate or whatever ended up happening right there. I don't get anything out of it. He actually bounces, I think. This is where I thought, ooh, I'm going to get one more shot, and then I get killed by the Tiger II. Finally, there was enough guns around me and people had wrapped around behind, and I just wasn't going to survive any of that. I actually wish... if I had actually been thinking better, when that T-54 came up and over, I would have been moving forward to isolate these guys from not being able to shoot me. But by then, there were so many bandits around me, I just kind of lost track of them. All right, there you go. 2,729. I'll show you the end plate. None of the other team really did much of anything. We were never in danger of winning this game. There was never any danger of us winning this game. But my initial positioning, my follow-on, and I think a little bit late on pulling back. I probably could have done some better work if I'd have got back there earlier and attrited these guys a little bit more instead of sitting where I was, because those last few shots weren't really doing much of anything. They were all sort of chancy shots, and I was sort of sitting there hoping that somebody would get exposed or lit and I'd get some free shots. So the only thing I wish I would have done a little bit differently on this was come back here. You could go all the way back and say, Guido, you should have gone over to the heavy area. Man, it's a crapshoot on this. It's a crapshoot on this map. And noted, if that's your position, I should have gone to the other side to begin with. It's maybe a good point. Hindsight says it probably would have been a good one, but I don't know. I might have just been overrun with the rest of them, right? And then have even less damage. But we got to take these matches for the example that they are. Vice splitting off too early in time and saying, well, you should have gone over there and then this and this and this would have happened. This is what I did, and this is how I ended up with 2,729 damage. I think it's important for the new to intermediate players to kind of think about that, and it's going to help with your consistency. And sometimes these kinds of mental exercises will get you to those points where if the game was a little closer, you end up winning these things. All right, this is the kind of thing that wins games. Didn't here because we just really got overrun badly, but these are the kinds of things that win games. Going back is nearly always better than pushing on to cap. I say nearly because sometimes the conditions are set. You can get to their cap without getting massacred, and you can steal wins with caps. I just implore the new to intermediate players to make that a secondary kind of idea to the idea that you go back to cap most of the time. Stealing a cap is a much more nuanced thing than simply going back to cap and defending. That's all I've got. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you.